10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Stretch, yawn, get ready, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite late night drag racing, motorsports talking, high-powered, high-energy show, the Competition Plus Power Hour. I am Slammin' Sam, the man. Not the myth, but I am the legend. Slammin' Sam, that's right. But I'm not alone. I've got a very good-looking guy. He looks kind of fallen in the picture. No, I'm not going to say that. He's my friend, my brother from another mother. He is the Monday Morning Racer. Lee, you knew what I was going to say, but I didn't say it.
You didn't say it, but Sam, here we are, and it's after being at the drag strip together for the first time since, I think, Las Vegas at a PDRA event. It was your first. So I want to start right there, man. What did you think of the Professional Drag Racers Association?
Man, I don't even know what to say, Lee. Very welcoming. First and foremost, thank you to everyone that was down there that said hi, that I got to hang out with, talk with. But especially want to say thanks to the limo guy at large, Real Pro Stock, the man, Scott, brought me down there to help him out, do some filming, do some interviews. And you know, it was really fun, Lee. Like you said, you've mentioned it a lot of times before that the PDRA is a different event. And what the track facility at VMP, man, I mean, I've got that on my notes to talk about the atmosphere down there. Just to see all the people coming out and being a part of what was going on, that was phenomenal. The racers happy to be there, excited, a lot of energy flowing. But again, it was the World Finals. I mean, there was a lot that was, you know, on the line. We did a pit walk, super excited about that. I can't say enough great stuff about it, Lee. Like, honestly, I'm honestly happy I got to experience that, and I'm waiting to see what next year brings already.
I hear you, man. PDRA is great. Folks, if you have not been able to get to a PDRA event, you need to get to one of those. It is 8th Mile, Door Slammer, and Sportsman Drag Racing at its finest. And speaking of the PDRA, we do have one of their champions on the show tonight. Kevin Rivenbark or River Snake, if you're Colton Jordan, will be on. He is the champion in Pro Boost, and he got it done in an interesting way. And then from the NHRA, Matt and Angie Smith. What's that?
No, go Lee, go back to that picture.
All right.
I was just admiring how, like, define that military chop hand right there I'm giving you.
Look at
it. The smirk on your face is telling me you are not impressed. But
look at it. Define
that's
yes,
a good looking.
The smirk.
That is a good looking picture.
Hey, shout out to Clarence, Black Dragon Photography. He's actually the photographer there at VMP, Virginia Motorsports Park. Guys, if you need some good shots, and look what he was able to work with. And he got some stellar shots. So, yes, that was great. That was great.
Man, I hope you're speaking of me. I hope you're speaking of you, not me.
Yes. So, Sam, we've got a stacked show tonight. We're going to have Jeff Arin on later. We will have Bobby make an appearance, hopefully, if we have any of those mic issues worked out that he was having before show. But Stan mentioned it in the comments. What up, boys? A lot to unwrap this week. Again, dude, wow, there is a lot to touch. PDRA, No Mercy, NHRA, a ton was going on, and you're unboxing and unloosening and losing it all over there.
I'm just gonna hold. We got a floating mic here.
Got a floating mic.
A lot to talk about here. Equipment malfunctions, I guess here. But yeah, a lot to talk about. 3 races. I mean, even when we were there in the media center, you know, there was a couple of guys that had on the Ducks race there. Then you had an NHRA event, huge NHRA event, if I may say so myself. I mean, a couple of records were set, people getting their first wins of the year, but a little controversy that no one's talking about that I kind of want to bring up about that. But a lot of racing went on this weekend. So if you're a racing fan, I want to know from you guys, which event were you tuned into?
Well, obviously, I was most tuned into the PDRA because I was there. And then, secondly, it would have been the NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals. Wow, yeah, new records. Let's rip them off here. Top Fuel, ET, 366 with a 7, Steve Torrance. Speed, Justin Ashley, 334 miles per hour. Speed for Funny Car, 330, Matt Hagan. Pro Stock Motorcycle, time 685 with a 9, and speed 199.29, Eddie Krawick. The only one that stood that had been up on the board for a long period of time from the traditional Father's Day weekend would be ET for Funny Car, held by Ron Capps at a 388. They were flying down the valley there at Bristol Dragway, Slam and Sam.
There was definitely thunder out on that track, no pun intended. But, Lee, we're talking NHRA, and there's, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. He said the blow up nationals. Hey, when you're running times like that and there's a lot of ET and a mile an hour there, you're going to see that stuff. We predicted it down at the PDRA. We definitely predicted to see some big booms. And I don't think there was too many, but there was a good amount that, people were shooting for records. And obviously it did happen. So congratulations to that. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that when we talk a little bit more about PDRA. But since I brought it up, 4 flat with a 0.
Yeah, John
4
DeFlorian,
flat with a 0.
There were records in the PDRA. John DeFlorian comes out. One of the few times he's come out for the PDRA, and he made a statement that we've come to play. He wins the event. He does set, I believe it was in round 2. I believe it was round 2. He reset the record to a 4.000. And for those of you that may not know, the Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars or the Extreme Pro Stock cars have been attempting to reach the 3s for years now. And that's as close as you're going to get without reaching the 3s. 0, 0, 0. And Sam, look, I don't know where you were at that time standing. I was like half track, and John does that burnout, and dude, that thing had a lick to it. Like a Mountain Motor Pro Stock car usually sounds like something's rattling around in the can and it's about to just blow up with all those 800 plus cubic inches running. That's his car, though. It sounded like the hot rod rolling and loping into Shoney's parking lot, on the morning for a cruise in. They had that thing tuned up for that number, and they got it, but it still wasn't.
It was right. It was right as I was about to roll out to leave because I had an earlier flight to get back up to the Great North. It takes 9 hours of flying to pretty much get here. I'm joking, but it does. So it was hear the car. That sounds a little different. Like you said, it had a different attitude to it. But from my vantage point, looking to the starting line, when the time came about, it was like everyone kind of forgot that the record had been set. But at the same time, everyone was like, oh man, so close to that 3. I think everyone was looking for that 3 second, because I think that's the historic number that everyone is looking for right now. Yes, the 4 second is huge, but I think that 3, whoever runs that 399 is going to be that's going to be the one.
Oh, it is.
If
that's
that
what
makes
we've been
sense.
waiting for. There's even this huge Liberty Gears trophy that weighs like 100 pounds for the first person to make it to the 3s. It was literally the most anticlimactic record set I have ever seen. Like everybody was like, there was this mixture of joy and glee and sadness and sorrow all at the same time for what had just happened. So impressive to see what was happening in the NHRA. Sam, I think we have to talk about it before we bring on Jeff Arin, before we bring on Bobby Bennett really quickly, and our guests. NHRA timing system issues. Dude, this is like they've brought in the the backup refs like from 4 or 5 years ago with the NFL or something and making terrible calls. They got to fix it, dude.
Wasn't this the problem that supposedly they were going to have in Texas? Was the big controversy of, well, they're not bringing this person in and all this. It didn't happen. Texas went smooth, and now it's happening again. It's kind of a snowball effect, Lee, and I think Bobby Bennett, when we bring him on, I think he'll have some, stuff to talk about there. I think I get it. I know you want to talk the timing system with NHRA. I want to talk about, there's a little bit more controversy, but first I want to give a shout out to Alexis DeJoria getting that win. I think that's long overdue. Dale and the crew there, I think they've just been working, and luck has not played in their favor. But
they have been working hard, and it has been overdue. And we've been saying she's going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. We've expected it earlier, but to do it being number one qualifier and then winning the race, and then Mike Salinas doing it in the same vein, fashion, and style as well. Great weekend. Feel good stories there. Sure.
You brought it up. And this is not to throw shade, not to start any controversies, just my opinion. Okay? There was another driver. Well, Mike, congratulations. But he ran 2 classes this weekend. Right? He ran Pro Mod and he ran Top Fuel. There was another driver who's tried to do that same thing and was told he couldn't. Why is that, Lee?
Because technically, Pro Mod is not a professional category under the Camping World.
No. I understand that. But as what we all learned this weekend from Nate Van Wagenen and Nate from Drag Illustrated, I'm just going to say that. What does he call Pro Boost? What is it?
I don't know what he calls Pro Boost.
Every class.
It's short. Professional. It's short for professional modified. That's what it is. Professional modified. And yes,
why are we not putting them? Why are we not putting them on the stage? I'm standing up Pro Mod right now. Put them on the stage.
That's the technical.
Put them on the stage.
I agree. Put them on the stage. Figure it out.
So Pro Stock is what? Pro is short for professional stock.
Yeah, professional stock.
Pro Mod is Pro is short for professional. Mod is modified.
But because it's not under Camping World, that's why.
Nah, man. Nah. I get it, but I don't get it. Just saying.
I understand completely, Sam. It is
a
strange world
Lee,
that we live in.
Lee, you're not listening, Lee.
I am listening. It is a strange world that you have this shaded area, this gray area of professional, not professional. What does it actually say to the Pro Mod guys that, you can run Pro Mod and Top Fuel or Pro Stock or Funny Car, do those in the same weekends, and yet not be considered professional, but you're in a professional category. Again, it boils down to the title sponsor situation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Stan is saying.
I would like to see the rule just change, period. I call it the Kenny Koretsky rule because at some point it was implemented after he did the qualifying for Pro Stock and Top Fuel at Phoenix. I believe it was like 94, I believe. So sometime after that, it came a part of the NHRA rule set. I think it needs to be changed. I think we're in a completely different day. Why not have professional drivers running in other categories, such as Alex Laughlin, that can bring so much branding to the table? Why not?
You just said it, huh? I was trying to keep it, but no, I don't believe that. If you have, I understand timing and different things like that, but that's what scooters, that's what all this stuff is for. I totally get it. If a guy's running in one class and he has to turn around and we're waiting for him, whatever, I totally understand that. But if that's the following that person has, if that's what they can afford to do or willing to do, why are we, we're trying to grow the sport. Why limit a driver to one particular class? That's what they have the license for. And if they want to keep that license up and they have the sponsorship, if that means that there's 2 more sponsors that we didn't have before because that person is bringing 2 different people to the track, so be it.
Right.
I get it. I understand the whole sponsorship name. I'm just saying. And nothing against Mike. I think he's a great guy.
Right. I'm glad he's exploiting the loophole and he's out there doing it for sure. But as it stands right now, except for under a match racing scenario, we're not going to see him in Top Fuel and Pro Stock Motorcycle, which he has mentioned he wants to do, to race his own daughter. We're not going to see that anytime at the NHRA national event level anytime soon.
But why would you
Sam,
not?
We got to get Jeff on.
About this.
All right, I know.
Jeff
we got to get
wait.
Jeff on. And I'm definitely excited to talk to Jeff. I want to ask him about the timing issues because this is like the 3rd time we've had it happen and like the 2nd time in the countdown when it most definitely seriously counts. So I know he's going to fill us in on several things. I want to ask about that. We're going to take a break. You need to check out competitionplus.com. Apparel, old school, new school, wear the swag of Competition Plus.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
All right, Jeff, what you got for us? Insider information.
Well, I heard you guys talking about the timing issues, and Dallas. We I had some little early knowledge on the fact that Brockmeyer wasn't going out, and Brockmeyer is CompuLink, if people don't know that, and his timing systems have always been great. And for whatever reason at Dallas, they switched to a portrait system, which uses different stuff than CompuLink. And I think Brockmeyer had told NHRA, hey, if you don't get back to me within a few days, you're going to have to try and make this work. And he had an idea it wouldn't work great. And, they went past the deadline, and he said, I'm not going out there. And there wasn't really that much going on in Dallas as far as these issues, but it's crazy. I mean, the NHRA racing has gone on for a long time. There's been a few issues here and there, but most of the time it's like, a piece of paper blows through the finish line lights and the guy looks like he went 500 miles an hour. But I've never seen timing issues where all the numbers are skewed pretty well after the 60 foot. So what's going on there? I wish I knew. I'm not the guy to ask about that, but I've seen them as well as everybody else has. And some of the live timing stuff, even on NHRA, a few races back, they had the wrong winners in there, like with Steve Torrance and stuff. So pretty crazy stuff. And the countdown was not the time for that to happen. So, going back to the race here in Bristol, Mike Salinas, I mean, that guy's stepped up his game. I mean, the car's running better, which might have something to do with his lights getting better. But for the last few races, he's been pretty consistent, what I would call a great lever, not just an average. He's been having some really good lights. He's in the 30s to the 50s. Those are good lights for someone to win. The performance has stepped up, like we said, and congratulations on his win there. Alexis, obviously, I've got some ties to that team. I've known her for a long time. She was my teammate, and I'm good buddies with Dell. First win for her under the DC Motorsports Dell deal. The car's running great all year, and things finally came together for them. They've had a little bad luck here or there, or when she was on her game, the car was a little off, or if the car was on the game, she was a little off. And it's good to see him get a win. Alexis is she loves the sport. She loves the fans. She loves drag racing. And, with her presence and her family's presence in the sport, that can only be a good thing. And, thank God. I mean, if she had red lit in that final round, I mean, things go a lot differently. I think she knows she got a little lucky with her light, but who cares? I mean, she still got the win light, and that's important. Got the win for the team. And that's going to get her motivated, get her confidence up. And, I look for big things for that team for the last 2 races of the year. I mean, she's in 8th place now, but with the way the points are, I could see her moving up maybe to fourth if they have really, really good races coming up and some of the other guys stumble a little bit. And funny car's tough. You get to the second round, and most of the cars there are playoff cars. And so one of the guys is like going to be done after the second round. So anything can happen there. I mean, Cap's got a 1-point lead, which is nothing, obviously. And we got Vegas coming up and then 1.5 points for Pomona. So funny car's going to be super exciting. It was really cool to see J.R. Gray win with, Mike Janis's car. I've known Mike for a long time. I grew up with him racing actually up in Canada. He was just across the border, and the Jensen automotive cars were always the ones to watch. They were beautiful cars. They ran well. And, congratulations to them on getting their Pro Mod win. And they threw down some 569s in there, which was, I think, low ET, but they deserved it. So it's kind of fun to see. Top Fuel, obviously Steve-O, he's got like a 4-round lead, which is, I'm not going to say insurmountable, but it's a pretty healthy lead over Brittany, who's in second. Justin Ashley's getting super hot right now. He's got some great lights. He might have stumbled a little bit in one round, but that car's hot. But, he's back pretty well 100 points. So there needs some miracles to happen for him to move up much past where he's right now in third. But, overall, there's some great racing like we've talked about. There's some timing system issues, which I hope they get figured out before these last two races. And, love or hate the countdown. And I wasn't a huge proponent when it first started, but it's done what it was supposed to do. Like when the countdown came in, you have all the races coming up to to Indy, or Indy's involved in it. And it's fun to watch. There's like people are battling getting that top 10, maybe not quite as much right now as in the years past where you had, 13, 14, 15 full-time cars, but it creates excitement there. And then you've got all this excitement going into the finals. So, love it or hate it, it definitely creates excitement. I mean, I think Steve-O would have won the championship already if it was based on points. Does he deserve it? Yeah, I think so. Is there a better way to do it? I'd kind of like to see the countdown where instead of getting the points reset and you only get like a 20-point lead for the first guy and then 10 points each after that, I think you should, whatever you're winning by, from the next closest guy, that should be your lead when you go in. And I think that would be really fair. Maybe a little confusing to figure out all the numbers, probably not that hard, but at least all the stuff you did during the regular season would, make it better for the guys that dominated going into the countdown.
As usual, great perspective, Jeff. Yes, they've got to get these timing systems figured out. I don't know who is in charge of that. Don't know what switch has got to be made, but we do not need that at professional level of drag racing and in the countdown. And look, as Jeff, I mean, think about it. You go out there, you make a pass, you spend a lot of money to make a pass, could have been a number one qualifying pass, and there is nothing. And like Funny Car right now, the points lead can change by qualifying, not just the race.
Right. I agree with you. And I think they should have the technology kind of like NASCAR, where there's a transponder on the starting line, there's one at the finish line, and one at each one of the incrementals. Because the one thing I always thought that was super unfair is, let's say you go into Q4, you're not qualified, and you're making a run, and the guy in the other lane mows over the cones at the finish line. Well, it throws your run out, and you could have got in. And I think obviously it's not fair. It's the way it's always been, but there's got to be a better way in 2021 to make this deal better. I mean, the technology is there. It can't cost that much money to do it. And that would make it just, so much more fair. And maybe you have the old system as a redundant system if something fails, but I can't see it being that difficult to do. The transponder probably weighs like, a few ounces or something you put on every car, and you dig something in the track and put that on there. And that takes away all the problems that we've had over the years that were fair or not fair.
There you go.
Like a transponder.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think that's what NASCAR uses, transponder kind of deal.
Yeah. NASCAR.
Look, local dirt tracks out in the middle of nowhere
exactly
have transponders and can figure out time.
Sure. I mean, there's all kind of technology out there. It can't be that hard or that expensive to do or to retrofit. I mean, it's not like you're going to spend $100,000 putting this stuff in a track. It's relatively inexpensive. It's probably a lot easier to master than some of the timing systems that are out now. I mean, Brockmeyer is a great guy. His systems have worked forever. but if you're familiar with it, it still uses like a DOS system. I mean, it's kind of like antiquated. So, this new stuff I think would be pretty well maintenance free. Put some fiber optic stuff in there or whatever you got to do. But you don't see NASCAR races watching them on TV where they don't know what the guy's lap time was. So it's accurate to the 10,000th of a second or whatever it is. I'd like to see him get into that.
There you go. Well, Jeff, look, thank you for your time, man.
Hey, no problem. Have a good show, guys.
Sam, Bobby
What's up,
Bennett,
Lee?
Competition Plus Power Hour is about to do it again tomorrow night. He can give you the full details. But the Legends, the series, will fire up once again with Kenny Bernstein. I'm excited over that. We got a clip right here.
But my dad was really my mentor. He was exactly, let's put it this way, I'm exactly like he was in the sense of always being aggressive and trying to be the best that you could be. He was in the clothing store business, Levine's department stores, and at that time he was the manager of the store in Lubbock, Texas. So I worked a lot. Every holiday I was working. Every weekend that we weren't playing football or something for the teams, we were working. So I grew up in a business atmosphere. Our dinner table at home was like this. How much did you sell today, Kenny? What'd your tickets look like? I basically looked up one day and said, what are you doing? You're not making any money, and this is a very expensive sport even in those days. And I didn't see a future there. I didn't see how I was going to find this major sponsor and be able to do what other guys were doing on the West Coast and some guys in Texas that were doing.
Under the hood of these plastic body cars.
I gave it 1 year in 1979 to run all the national events and the IHRA and NHRA events. And if I could come up with a sponsor for the 1980 season, then I would go on with that if it was worthwhile and sell the restaurants, because I always in my life wanted to go racing. And this was probably the only opportunity I thought that was going to happen. So I didn't hear from him Saturday night at all. I didn't think much about it. I figured I would, but I didn't. But Sunday, he comes in Sunday afternoon. He looked at me on the bed. I was laying there in traction. He says, well, we can't run the car the way I'm trying to run it. And I said, what? He says, can't do it. He said, there's no way. He says, I went out there. It shook so hard, I absolutely turned it almost upside down. Sideways, upside down, on two wheels. He says, unbelievable, Kenny. He says, terrible. He said, I parked it, would not drive it the rest of the night. We cannot run the car that way. I'm trying to do something that we can't do.
Bobby Bennett, man, looking forward to that with Kenny Bernstein. Talk to us about your time with Kenny, and one thing from you that was unexpected that you learned.
Oh, wow. I don't know so much that I learned anything that I didn't expect to hear, so much as I was just in awe of the man while he talked. I mean, it was pure genius on a lot of aspects. And sorry guys about the light. I can't do much better than that. Okay. But anyway, I'll admit this episode should have been out around August or July or August. And I just, after the COVID, it just really knocked me for a loop that I couldn't really focus. And then one day I just said, you know what? This is something that has to go on. We have to keep telling people about these legends. So 110 hours of editing time later, that will be the Kenny Bernstein episode of Legends you'll see tomorrow. And this one goes nearly an hour long. And, there was nothing I really felt comfortable. There wasn't a whole lot I felt comfortable putting on the cutting room floor, to speak the old film days, because there was just so much good stuff. And I'm not going to do it in a 2-part series or anything. It's one part, it's the internet. If you don't want to watch it all, then don't watch it all. If you want to come back and watch it, come back and watch it. That's the beauty of the internet. But I think it's probably some of my best work, to be honest.
There you go. And just, talking about it and bringing it all back. I think this is a great way to do it, a great story to tell, and one that I think, like you said, is long overdue. And I'm excited. I know tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah, I know what I'm going to be doing.
Yes, at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And if you'll look back, we we used to do all the premieres on Thursday evenings. So now with the Power Hour on Tuesday, I figured now it will be perfect as a lead in for Wednesdays now. And it'll be at Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just to give you an idea, each one of these episodes, about 60 hours of editing time. And in the midst of doing that editing, you have to go pull footage, you have to find footage, you have to go through sometimes full races to see, pick up the clip that you're looking for. The clip might not even exist. I mean, for instance, I went through a whole probably about 12 veteran photographers to find one who was at the 1977 NHRA U.S. Nationals. The significance of that, Kenny Bernstein ran funny car eliminator driving the LA Hooker. Not many people know that. And he didn't qualify, but it basically set in motion what was going on. So finally, Norman Blake, veteran photographer, he found he had 2 shots that I was able to get from him. Plus, I was able to get the actual event program that had the entry list that had Kenny Bernstein's name in there. So, those are the details that many people just, I think, take for granted in this. And even me, watching documentaries, I always took for granted that stuff, that it just kind of like fell out of the sky. Well, I got news for you. It doesn't fall out of the sky.
Bobby, man, look, I'm going to have the popcorn ready and going to be watching Kenny Bernstein, the Legends, the series on Competition Plus TV on YouTube. That's where, folks, you can find it, 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Bobby, thank you for being on the show. I'm looking forward to that show tomorrow night. And we've got a champion in the green room, and we need to bring him on.
Well, if I could say one thing before I leave, I always ask myself, how are you going to top this episode? And I say that each episode I go, but this one, boy, I tell you what, I think it raised the bar pretty high. And but I got Billy Meyer coming up next after this one. And I'm going to tell you, if you know Billy, I asked him, I says, how do you want to be remembered by folks? And his response was, I don't give a bleep how people remember me. I really don't give it.
If you don't start that interview with that, period. Boom. Like, start it with that, and then hit
nobody
to the
watch
intro.
The rest. What else you got to watch? But just stuff like and that's the thing about the Legends series. And I know I'm trying to kind of pushing you over here, guys, but I always used to watch the NFL networks of Football Life. And I would purposely watch the people that I could not stand because I wanted to find one tidbit that would make me like them. In case in point, like when we had the Whit Bazemore episode, I think he gained a few fans out of that because not many people realized just how hard he had to come up through the ranks. And with the Kenny Bernstein thing, I'm going to tell you what, I think people will be impressed with the man. I mean, don't look at my video editing, look at the content.
Well, there you go. Folks, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Competition Plus YouTube channel, you're going to see that episode with Kenny Bernstein. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, guys.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Kevin, man, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. And Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Do you have any fingernails left though?
I don't have no nerves left. It'd be more like it. That was a tough one. I've had some close ones, but that by far came down to the very end.
It did, sir. It did. And there's certainly a lot to talk with you about your championship year. I want to bring up a few photos, and I want to talk about the highs before we get to probably one of the lowest lows you've ever had in your career, I imagine. So we've got moments like this at the PDRA Summer Shootout. You and your crew getting the job done in that Galot Motorsports Pro Mod, Pro Boost in the PDRA. And then you're getting it done here at the Northern Nationals, the inaugural Northern Nationals for the PDRA at Maple Grove, such a historic track. So before we look toward the end of the year, things were looking really up to, in essence, the second race toward the end. Where were you confidence-wise? Where were your thoughts? Did you feel almost like things were sewed up before, as we look at it later that day in testing at Galot on Thursday?
I never feel like it's ever sewed up. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, you can go from hero to zero faster than you go down the track. But after the accident, yeah, it knocked the wind out of myself. You know, all I could think about was, you know, this year's over with. You know, we've had two good races, one, and I runner-up at Galot first of the year, and been about every semifinals, every race, and then all of a sudden this happened. You know, just a misfortunate situation. So, but luckily there's good people like Stan Shelton family, Colt Lumber, you know, who steps up and helps somebody like myself out.
No, and when you talk about that, I kind of want to bring up the PDRA class and just kind of the family you guys are. Can you touch on that? Because like you mentioned right now, you know, him stepping up and helping you out in that situation after, you know, your accident there. What does that mean, and what does that tell you about who the PDRA has as racers, the family that you guys have created out there?
I feel like, you know, everybody who runs the PDRA is family to a certain extent. You know, everybody's a competitor and everybody wants to win. And, you know, it's just like my teammate. I mean, he had a shot for the championship. So, I mean, to ask him to step out of his car to let me finish up to try to win a championship was, you know, it just wasn't reasonable. So, you know, we're all competitors, but family at the same time. I mean, we'll help each other as much as possible. You know, I would do the same for somebody like Stan or whoever if I was in the situation, you know, where I wasn't in the points or something like that. But as a group, the PDRA, anybody who runs at PDRA, whatever level they run at, you know, to me is first class. I think they'll bend over backwards to help you in any way they can.
It definitely is a family atmosphere, and it was good to hear things, how they were worked out for you to still have a shot, for Daniel Ferris still to have a shot. And we all know Tutterow was gunning for it, and what stiff competition he is in the midst of all of that. So have you seen, I know you saw it from the inside, obviously, but have you seen the footage since your accident? Because we've got the inside footage and we're going to look at it. So have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm about to say, if you hadn't seen it, you might want to might want to look away, because we're going to play that in here in just a moment. And we want to talk through it and what happened, because you experienced, I will say, one of the most gnarly pro mod accidents I've seen, especially for PDRA. And it was rough. It was rough. So we're going to take a look at it right now on the screen, and everybody can see what happened.
Lee, wait.
Hey, no,
Wait,
no, we
no.
can't take a sip because that was not
Hey.
actually the mic. That was electronic.
No, Kevin, in all respects, when someone does that on this show, it's a late night. So everyone, I'm drinking Red Bull tonight. Come on, Lee. Kevin,
Water.
I don't know if they told you. Do you have a
No.
drink? Oh, everybody at home,
Oh,
take a drink on behalf of Lee.
Take a drink. Yes. So, top end, heads toward the wall. What did happen? I've seen the footage from the limo guy at large. He had one from like the tower, from the driver's seat after diagnosing everything. What did happen in testing on Thursday?
Basically, the launchers didn't get the chutes out far enough to clean air to inflate. And luckily, the left one did get some clean air and inflate with a delay. But the right one sucked up under the car and evidently touched one of the tire. They would touch the right tire, and you know how sticky they are. And of course, it just grabbed a hold of it and started wrapping around the rear end. So with all of it flopping around, that's what busted the quarter pound on the wheel tub out.
There you go. I've been wondering, and I was like, wow, there was a lot of shrapnel in that one to begin with. Just what an insane ride for sure, man. Glad you're okay.
It you know, the 69 Camaro has especially the ones like we got with no trunk liners in them, it's got a void under there, and we realized there was a vacuum up under. We put a camera on Daniel's car afterwards and facing the rear end, and it got tail light flappers, and of course about halfway through the run they sucked back in, so you know there's a vacuum up under there. So we need to do some rethinking of putting the pans back up under the cars, restructuring the parachutes, you know, and the spill plates, so this don't happen again. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened, but this is the first time that it's actually created an accident.
So question for you, as I sell parachutes in my business, Mapro Motorsports. Are you guys running the spring launchers or air activated chutes?
The
you guys are actually, and it's sucking that. Wow.
It just when it came out, it just flopped to the ground, and it was just that close to get close to the, you know, there's downdraft coming off the back deck on the wing.
Yep.
So between that and the vacuum already up under the car, it just sucked it right up under. And we have parachute nets on our wheelie bars, but it went to the right and just fell down below to the right of it, and just, you know, unfortunately got a hold of the tire.
Wow. How quickly did you all determine as a team, Daniel Ferris's car, in essence, I imagine almost a carbon copy of the one you're in, say, hey, let's see what might have happened and see what is going on, put a camera in a direction that might not be the normal one?
Right. Well, you know, there's been a few other 69s that we know of that's had accidents, you know. So after the accident, we said, let's see what's going on. Why does this keep happening? And we looked at a few other cars and the way the parachutes were on there, you know, and we just feel like between the way the parachutes are mounted and the vacuum up under the car, is something's got to be changed.
Well, glad to hear y'all are looking into that for sure. It's good to hear the drag racers are saying, hey, we need to continue to make steps, make these cars safer, especially in the pro mod ranks. So you step in to another ride. Talk to us about how that did work out, the details on that. Did go out first round at Galat. And I know that you had to be an onlooker and wonder what's it going to look like for Virginia from that point.
Well, I mean, right after action, I was at the trailer, and immediately Stan came over and said that, "Well, you're driving my car." You know, I really wasn't expecting that. I had tested his car. Well, I only made 2 runs in it at Darlington for him. One day of testing, you know, and he is a Proline family car also. I mean, the motors, Petty's tuning it with Lee White, and so I felt like that was a very good chance. We knew it was running. We didn't have enough laps in it to feel like it was, you know, a top 3 car yet, but we knew it was heading that way. So when he came over, you know, just to tell me that, I didn't know what to say. I mean, it just took me by surprise and took the wind out of my sail again, because I was like, you know, how can this happen? I mean, to be this blessed, you know, the accident could have been a lot worse, and, you know, could have been better, not ever happened, but it, you know, could have been a heck of a lot worse. And then for that to happen, for Stan to let me drive his car to continue marching on for the championship is truly a blessing.
And talk about that. You know, you had, you know, a guy like Lee White and on the helms of that car, tuning that car. Is it one of those things in the pits where you feel comfortable, you know that guy, you've seen his work, you know, he's got a credible name. So was it easy to get behind the wheel and know, hey, I trust what he's going to do. I trust what he's going to give me?
Oh, definitely. You know, I stepped in it within an hour of the next run. So, I mean, some people would say either crazy or that good. I said, I just, you know, probably that stupid. But I felt very comfortable getting in it. You know, there was no hesitation whatsoever. And I just, you know, but with the whole Proline family, I felt like they'd give me his best car they could. And even the car I wrecked, you know, I mean, we just went up 363 or whatever it was. And so, I mean, I feel like they give me the best car I can possibly have.
All right, so you step away from Galot. Still, you're in the lead. You've got Tutterow gunning for you. Ferris has got a mathematical chance if he wins out, and depending on what happens for you that day at the finals. I believe went out round 2 at the finals, and you were not in control of your own destiny anymore for that championship. So how did you handle it? Did you leave? Did you stay? Were you looking from a box? Were you like, let me go take a nap, just wake me up? And if I don't win, don't wake me up. What did you do, man? How'd you handle it?
Well, after I fouled up, and it was my fault that the run I went out against Randy Weatherford, we knew he was on the tree, and, you know, I knew I had to go for it, but I just had a brain lapse and had a bad light. And, of course, I ran faster than him, but so he beat me on a hole shot. So we got down to the other end. And we just stayed there at the other end waiting for Todd to run to see how that played out, because we knew Camp was very capable of beating him, but you know, anything's possible. So, and then when I seen Camp come through, and then I didn't see Todd, and then I didn't see Todd's parachute, and I was like, just a breath of relief, you know? So, I mean, that was just sheer luck, because Todd, you know, I mean, I give him credit. He's one of the best in the business of pro mod racing. We raced with him for years, and, you know, him and I battled in 2014 for the championship. I came in second, and he won the championship. And he's tuned me to the championship. So he is a very good competitor, and anything could happen. So when I seen him come through and his parachute went out, I was like, oh, Lord, he's looking down on me. But then I had to worry about Daniel, because I knew he was very capable of winning it.
So just looking back, I mean, you know, out over the whole weekend and everything that happened, it's just one of those, I guess, good feelings, right? When you look back and you say, you know what, I've gone through the test, I've looked at everything, I finally accomplished it, and now at the end of the weekend, you get named the champion. What relief does that give you? Or does that put a target on your back for next year?
Well, it seems like there's always a target if you're finishing in the top 5 or something like that. You know, I won championships in 2016, 2019, and now in 2021. So I feel like there's always a target on somebody's back who's running good. I mean, you always have friends while you're running bad, but then when you're running good, they kind of get scarce of how many you got. So I always feel like there's a target on my back. Do I feel like I'm any better than any of them? No. I just feel like I got good equipment, good people around me, and a little bit of luck and some skills. I come out a winner.
Fan question for you. Drag Racing Central asks, and this is a common question, and do love asking, getting the thoughts from the competitors on this particular matter, and this one from the champion himself in 2021. What is your opinion on PDRA splitting the boosted cars from the nitrous cars? Do you think this helps with balancing the rules? What's your take on the two classes of pro modified within the PDRA?
I like it. I like it split, but I also like, the more different combinations you have. Power adders, is more controversy, and that's what fans like, is the controversy. So, I mean, Street Outlaws is a prime example of that. So, it depends on how the car counts get. There's always a new series popping up, which makes the car count thinner. So, it's a give and take for me. I love running the nitrous cars, especially when we go to the shakedown and places like that, or when we used to run the Mad Mules and stuff at Galot. It's always fun because you're always having controversy. I mean, people like Jay Cox, Tommy Franklin, and of course Jim Halsey, and it's fun to race somebody different from time to time. Will PDRA ever make it one class? Not unless the car counts get really way down.
All right, I got to ask this question because I've been waiting for it. After seeing Virginia, the facility that they give you guys there, the track conditions, what Tyler's doing there, what the Franklin family has done there to provide that excellent, facility for you guys. How do you feel with, how everything is handled, how the track prep is handled for you guys with what Tyler's doing? Because from what I saw, I mean, he's the first one to run out of the tower when something goes wrong or when anything happens. So how do you guys feel that drivers and as association coming in, having him there to help you guys out?
I think Tyler does a wonderful job as far as prepping the track, and I think Jimmy Bradshaw was there helping him. I think they give us as good as facility or track prep that we can get anywhere. Even if your car gets out of shape and you feel like you're in what you would say the marbles, you still feel like the car's up under you. A lot of places you race at, a prime example, NHRA, who preps more for the fuel cars. If you got there in the marbles, there's no telling what's going to happen. But with the prep and all, facilities we run at, I feel very comfortable and very glad to be able to race on a surface like they give us.
PDRA, it's definitely living up to its name, Professional Drag Racers, for sure. Kevin, thoughts on next year? Going to have a different car, Beyond 69 Camaro, Corvette, late model Camaro? What y'all got to be talking already. Come on.
Well, I mean, we're fixing the car I wrecked. We're fixing that back, so we'll still have the same two cars. Whether we get another car, is not yet to be seen. Or we've talked about a few things, but what materializes, I really don't know yet. As far as I know, we'll still have the same two cars. Hopefully, this year I drove and Daniel Ferris drove. Actually, Daniel was in my car and I was in John's car. I hated I scratched the paint on his, but it's racing. This is we're going over 200 miles an hour. Anything can happen. But I hopefully John will drive next year back in his car, and Daniel comes back, and I'll sit back and watch like John did this year. So we'll see. We really don't have nothing concrete yet, but I'm sure we'll be out there in some shape or form.
So if John comes back, does that mean you're going tractor pulling?
No, definitely not. That's his game. That's not mine. So I'd rather
All right.
tired of getting that.
So I got to ask this question too, since we're talking about different cars. Out of all the cars that you see out there that you saw this weekend, was there any particular car in any other fields or classes that you were like, man, that is a good looking car?
Oh, always the Parkinson's 57 Chevy in Top Sportsman is just, to me, is an awesome ride. It's just one beautiful car, and it's different. It's just like you see Sully driving that car he's got now. That it's just something different. I think we need that. I know a lot of competitors for years to try to get the association to give weight breaks for older cars and stuff like that. And I really think there's something needs to happen like that, so we get rid of some of the Camaros, and just like Stan's car is a Mustang. I mean, that's kind of a far few between nowadays. So it's all Camaros, it seems like. So I love something different. And if it's competitive, though, it's got to be competitive still.
And that is the balance of being competitive and being cool. And it is great when that combination does come together of being competitive and cool at the same time. Yes, I love that car. You mentioned a lot of great cars out there in the PDRA. I love Klein's Christine, the Fury in Pro Boost. Love it. Such a great ride.
Yes, it is. Very, very different. And we, like I said, we need that. I mean, used to when the Willis and all was out there, it's just, it gives the fans something different to cheer on. And controversy or difference or whatever, you need to draw fans however you can.
Lee, I got to ask you, what was your favorite car this weekend?
Ooh, this weekend in particular, well,
you better not steal mine.
I do love Perkins' ride. I do love Klein's Fury. I love Freddie with his, even though it's a Camaro, the paint on his Sorcerer is just phenomenal. I love that car. But even though it's not my favorite body, because it is a late model Camaro, I love seeing new people come to the PDRA. And we had that Canadian driver, name fails me right now, and he was in, I believe it was Pro Boost. It was a Pro Charge car, wasn't it?
Yes, Cuda.
There we go. Yes. So I love seeing new drivers come out, and I think that I don't know about any other time in the PDRA because I've only been following 2 years, but it seems like this year even more than last year, Kevin. There were like heavy hitters coming from other associations into the PDRA, at least making like one cameo appearance and, kind of showing out and challenging you PDRA regulars. That seemed to be the case this year.
It does. What, 2018, 2017s, you always had some Swedes coming over, and you had people from Puerto Rico coming over, that's what it takes. And we need more of that. But I know COVID has made it difficult for people to come, and especially from Canada and other places. So I hope it gets back to normal one day where we can have all that again, because I enjoy racing against whoever, from wherever. I mean, I'd love to go to Australia myself and race. So that's been one of my dreams. But somehow or another, we just need that to come back.
So my favorite car of the weekend, Lee, I think you know what I'm going to say. It kind of matches your glasses just a little bit, maybe a little bit darker. Brown Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hands. I'm sorry. That thing is beautiful. Like, if I repaint my 87, I might just have to paint it that color. I'm an 87 Fox body, but man, I can honestly say that was the car that yep.
It doesn't hurt.
That one stuck out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And champion for this year in that particular class, Pro Street Drag 965, beautiful hot rod. The truck wasn't there. You didn't get to see the truck, Sam. Yeah. He was not there this weekend. There's a guy with like a Dodge Ram blown truck that runs in that class. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Hey. I mean, I'm a little biased, of course, because I'm a Mustang, I'm a Ford guy, but honestly, like that, I just think for a modern car, and you and I said it, Lee, on my live feed that's going to actually be up on YouTube here soon, my our pit walk. But like, I honestly think that's what professional stock, as I'm going to continue to call it, should look like. I mean, why not? Modern body, looks sleek, clean. I don't see why you couldn't do it. Have another fan question coming in here, Lee. I'll bring this up for you. Kevin, it says oh, no, wrong one. Right here. Do you think 8th Mile allows for those different body styles due to the lower speeds?
Yeah, I think you can make one more competitive in the 8th Mile because of the lower speeds. Aerodynamics, I mean, we're getting so fast now in the 8th Mile, aerodynamics is playing because, I mean, you can sure see the shock graphs and stuff and see the back ends, how much they affect it. So it doesn't affect it as much as it does quarter mile, of course. I mean, just the raising the wicker affects it in the quarter mile a lot. So it affects it, but it's not as much as the quarter mile does by far. You can get away with a lot more in 8th Mile than you can quarter.
And it's easier on parts too. Like, I per se.
Yeah.
So one final question for me, as I'm an 8th Mile grudge racer, how do you feel when people say 8th Mile is going to kill drag racing, or it's so bad for drag racing, a lot of people need to go to quarter mile? How do you feel when you hear that? Because in the Great North right now, that's a lot of talk. They want people to get away from the 8th Mile racing. And I'm like, I think that makes you a hell of a driver right then and there.
Yeah, a lot happens in the 8th Mile. I mean, we run a lot faster in 8th Mile than people in the quarter mile run the 8th Mile. But I don't think that can happen because it costs so much to run quarter mile. You just see a lot of cars go away that people just can't afford it. I mean, you might as well just times 2, whatever, if you run quarter, because, I mean, basically you are running two different ones. But I don't think the 8th Mile can go away, and I don't think it hurts it because even the insurance companies don't even want you to run quarter mile anymore.
Boom. There it is. There it is. Kevin, again, congratulations on the championship in PDRA. Professional boost at that level.
Professional. None of this pro stuff anymore. We're saying professional for everything, okay?
Yes, right. That's right. Because this is a professional show. Well, maybe not. But, Kevin, thank you for being on, man.
I sure appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Speaking of professionals, we got 2 in the waiting room that are competing in professional motorcycle.
It's professional. That one gets me, Lee. That one sounds a little, but it's still professional.
It is professional.
Just like it's professional mod, and you're gonna run that class. You can run top fuel. You'll be able to run professional stock and top fuel too. Just saying.
Hey,
my opinion.
Hey, we can talk to him about that. Because Matt Smith, he is a multi-talented driver. He's been in and on more than just the motorcycle. So we can definitely ask him about that. But wow, it is impressive, Sam, what these naturally aspirated motorcycles are doing today. I mean, look, it's impressive what the turbo versions and the nitrous versions are doing, but that is a power adder. But it is amazing.
Lee, it's not nitrous. Didn't you learn anything this weekend? It's nitrous. It is nitrous.
Yes.
We were going to call it that. It's professional everything and nitrous. No more nitrous. Delegated by the limo guy in the media center. It is now nitrous. For anyone that's watching
we need to take a break before we lose Matt and Angie. And they're like, no, we're not stepping into this. We need to go ahead and get them on and chat with them real quickly. So right after this break, folks, we have got Matt and Angie Smith on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Man, Angie.
Hi.
Hope y'all are
How's
doing
it going?
well.
Good. How y'all
We
doing?
appreciate it, guys.
All right. So how do you feel? Professional everything, right? No more pro. No?
No, I don't like it.
Huh.
I'm an old school girl. It's pro stop motorcycle.
You have to bring that up with Nate Van Wagenen from Drag Illustrated. He says it's professional everything, and that's what I'm going with. It's
professional everything, but it doesn't sound right.
It does sound odd when you start trying to put it all together for some categories. Like I tried to run it through my mind in the intro, and I'm like, it's not coming out right with this motorcycle one. It's not flowing. It is not.
Yeah, professional stock motorcycle.
That sounds
No.
You have to think about it. Too long.
Yeah, you have to think about it. You do. But thinking about things, Matt, you've been on more in the motorcycle world. You've been in race cars. Yeah, the rule, we talked about it earlier, that you can only be entered into one professional category. Your thoughts about that? Should NHRA look at changing that, where y'all guys could, swap rides, hop in some different rides on one particular weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 2 years ago, I was going to run pro stock car for a few races with March Stock Seth backing us. And when the season got cut down, when the pro stock car season got cut down from 24 to whatever there are now, 20 or 19 races, I couldn't do it because it overlapped with all of the motorcycle races that we were going to do. So I had to bail out on it. But I would really like to see NHRA bring that back up and let us run 2 professional categories at any time. But it's strictly top fuel funny car, pro stock car, and pro stock motorcycle. I have raced pro mod at the same race as running pro stock motorcycle. Pro mod in NHRA is considered a sportsman class. So you can still do it in those 2 classes. You just can't do it in the 4 professional categories.
Huh. We missed out on having Matt Smith in a pro stock. I mean, come on, NHRA. Come on. I tell you what.
This is one of those moments. Get off my track.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Well, could you see the storylines? Matt Smith wins at the same track that his father, Ricky Smith, won at in pro stock. I can see the storylines right now. It's out there. It's there. NHRA, come on. Lift the rule.
It's what we need to happen. I mean,
yes.
Just like I got on my soapbox earlier about not being able to run pro stock and top fuel, but you can run professional mod and top fuel in the same weekend.
Yep. And
anyway,
I know Antron Brown has said he wants to run pro stock motorcycle again at a few races, but he can't do it with the way of running a top fuel car. And I've heard Mike Salinas also say he wants to run a pro stock motorcycle for a few races. So,
now,
I think NHRA needs to lift it,
So that storyline right there, like you said, he has a chance to run in top fuel, pro mod, and pro stock all in the same weekend. It's a lot, but why would you not want that to happen? I mean, that's a story within itself.
Yep, I agree.
All right, there we go. Well, Angie, for you had a misfortunate accident. I think let me see if I can find it real quickly here. I've got
Don't show the picture, Lee. No.
There it is.
Lee.
There it is.
Lee.
And
Lee.
Roger Richards right here.
Okay.
Roger Richards, always on the scene. He got that one for us.
I thought you were going to show the other picture.
No, I don't know which one you're talking about. Anyway, what is the timeline? I hadn't been able to read an article. I didn't get to watch the broadcast. So are you going to be good to go for Las Vegas, or what's
probably so? I was actually cleared to race in Bristol. However, this guy, and a little bit myself, not much of myself though, decided not to race in Bristol because I do have stitches in my hand right now. And I just didn't want to take a chance of opening the stitches back up, because then it would have delayed my healing 3, 4, 5 more days. And I want it best case scenario for Vegas, because last year I won Vegas, and I want to go in there as the defending champion, and I want to try to defend it. So I'm going to the orthopedic surgeon tomorrow and to get clearance from an orthopedic surgeon here. But like I said, the NHRA doctor has already cleared me. The ER doctor cleared me to race, and they kind of just left it up to me. And I was the one that decided, I think it's best that I sat out because it's still very tender right now, but it's not as tender as it was on Saturday.
Good news. Okay.
How hard is that for you? I know, I've talked to you guys before and how competitive you guys are. How hard is that for you to know you're cleared, know you could do it, but in the back of your mind say, you know what, I've got a bigger goal. I'm going to sit this one out.
It's extremely hard. I was going to be the athlete like the football players were. I was going to wrap it up, tape it up, and let the clutch go. But he strategically placed everybody in qualifying. He did, so that he had to race me, and he got to ultimately make the decision because, he was going to be in the other lane. So.
Yeah, but hindsight 2020, when we made the decision Friday night, Steve Johnson was qualified number 2. She was 15th, and
I was going up there.
And we'd already made the decision that she wasn't going to race, whether it was Steve or whoever, and and that's who we were battling for the points. Simple fact is, our sponsor was there, Lisa from Denso, and we made the decision that she was going to stay qualified. So there's no use. Get the qualifying points, go to Vegas. Let's get healed so she can perform up to hopefully 100%. And try to win that race, and that's what the decision was made Friday night.
All in all, good decision. Good decision, I think.
Yes.
Good decision. Race another day, let it get fully healed. I played on a football injury. I should have stopped, and I still got issues from it, but that's another story.
But I'm a racer.
There you go.
I'm a racer.
Well, speaking of being a racer and racing and doing it at a place that I don't think the Pro Stock Motorcycles had really ever been to, I don't know of Bristol being known for motorcycle racing, period, either. What was it like? What were the track conditions? Obviously, everybody talks about the bump. So take us on a Pro Stock motorcycle ride at Bristol.
The place is beautiful. Let's get that out first. I mean, the facility is awesome. Bruce Smith, owns the track, and just when you look up there and you go underneath the tower and you look at the track and he's like, wow, this is just a beautiful place just because the mountains on each side and all that. Not only on that, the left side has got, one of the greatest legends out there, in my opinion, is Ricky Smith, up on the tower. And, he's won a lot of races there in both sanctioning bodies, at Bristol. The track just needs, and Top Fuel and Funny Car said the same thing, the track just needs to grind the track. Let's get those bumps out, and let's make this track awesome again for everybody and put on a great show. It was a great show, but it could even be a greater show if the track is smooth and all those fuel cars can go down the track every time instead of hitting the bumps and spinning the tires and shutting off. And, I think that's the biggest thing. We need to address that, and hopefully they'll do that, but that was our first time there. I love the track. Probably we got our butts handed to us, by the Suzukis, in the semis and in the finals. But, all in all, beautiful place. Would love to go back.
But not for testing. No.
No, I will go there and test. A lot of things I would change on the bike to try to help with the bumps if they do put us back there. But we'll just wait and see what happens.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and probably am, but your suspension in essence is the tire. Is that not correct?
That is correct. We do not have any shocks on the rear. The front has, they call forks, but they are rigid. They won't even move, really a half inch. So it's really not a shock at all. It's just fork tubes. They do forgive a little bit of bumps, but they will not forgive what's on that track up there.
Oh, okay.
And so, Matt, you touched on it, the legacy that your dad has there and what he's done. Do you think rolling, not just rolling into that and seeing his name there, but, knowing that in the back of your mind, do you think that puts added pressure on you, as his son, even though you're in a different class? Does that mentally, I guess, give you momentum or put a little bit on you for racing there?
No, I don't think it put any pressure on me. I mean, I went up there to do my job. I mean, we'd won the last race before Bristol, which was Dallas. And, we were the points leader, and luckily we left there with a points lead still. I did want to win that race. Our team is very successful at brand new events on the NHRA circuit. We've won a lot of the inaugural races at these racetracks over the last 5-6 years. And I really wanted to win Bristol. One, it's cost us 2 hours from the house. Second, my dad's won so many times there, and my mom and dad were there this weekend. And I really wish we could have done it, but we didn't do it. And hopefully we'll go back there again in the future, next year, the year after, or whatever NHRA wants us to do. And I can try to put my name on a winner's hat and Wally there at Bristol, Dragway.
Speaking of the points, you're leading, as you stated, 25 points behind is Angel. It is a tight points race. I mean, I love what's happening in Funny Car right now, but I almost wish it wasn't, because I can remember last year and even earlier this year, like, folks, pay attention to Pro Stock Motorcycle, because it is one of the most competitive classes out there. And other than what's happening in Funny Car right now, Pro Stock Motorcycle is the most competitive class. And what has it been like this year? Because it seems like, in particular this year, like everybody's running their best stuff. Like everybody's ripping off 200s or diving deeper into ETs or lower in the ETs than they ever have. It's like everybody's got something on everybody, it seems like right now. And you cannot overlook anybody within that 16 of a ladder on Sunday. What has the strain been like on Matt Smith himself and the racing organization? Because, I mean, you're working on more than just one bike. It's several.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, NHRA changed the rules this year. They gave the Suzukis a 4-valve motor. They gave them fuel, and they also got a new body with a Hayabusa body. And at the first test session in Bradenton, Angel went out there and capped off a number and went 72 testing. And I was like, our national record is 72. So right off the bat, she was fast. And I was like, we're in trouble. We are really in trouble. What most people doesn't know is, from what I've been told, that the 4-valve motor over the 2-valve motor and the fuel gave them about 22 more horsepower over last year. All right. So now they're within probably 10 to 8 horsepower of our V-twin motors, and they weigh 30 pounds less. So that's the biggest thing. And NHRA has always told me, they're going like, we want them to go faster because we want to put weight on them, because all the Suzuki guys complain that they have to eat salads and broccoli to make weight. And, we want them to get up to where they can put weight on the bikes. They just haven't done it this year. And now I'm surrounded by 3 Suzukis. Not only Steve Johnson been awesome this year, Angel's been awesome. Well, now Karen Stover's picked up in the picture. This was her first race with the new 4-valve motor. And the first race, she went to the finals with it and set low ET of the meet in the finals. So I'm battling 3 Suzukis right now for this championship, and it's like, it's really hard because we didn't really get nothing. They got everything this year. So that's why I'm building a Suzuki for next year, is because I want to show everybody how fast those things will go. And we are building one. And I promise you, when we come out with one, mark my words, Suzukis will get weight put on them next year after I run one.
Lee. Hey, Lee. Lee.
Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, take a drink.
In true fashion, late night show. You guys, everybody's got to take a drink.
Yep. Well, what I was saying before rudely not noticing my mic was that's a Ricky Smith move right there. Wow. Pulling one out of Dad's portfolio. I like it. I like it. So Yeah, it's been wild to watch the competitiveness that has been there this year. Angie, what has it been like for you? Obviously, as a part of the race team, as a rider, but as wife to the individual of the race team. Has there been any moments like, calm down, please calm down, it will be okay, those type of things?
Yeah, there has been. And, I try to live the mentality of, what's going to play out is going to play out. And he was pretty bummed about Bristol, but I was like, it's not over. We still have 2 more races. We have 1 race that's 1.5 points. So, I mean, it's not over. And, we just got to go out and do the best we can. I mean, I've always said this, and I always say this every year to him. I just hope we didn't peak too soon. We never really run as good as we did this year at the beginning of the season. We're usually we usually start running well around Norwalk, and then we just turn it on and we run really, really well to the end of the year. Well, he won Gainesville, so he took the points lead in Gainesville. So I just hope we didn't peak too soon. But I'm a realist. I'm not negative. I'm a realist. What'll be, it'll be. And we're just going to go out there and do the best we can. I mean, we've ran really good. Like, the middle of the season, we ran really, really good. Like, he went 205, I went 203. I qualified number 1 at Sonoma. I went 673. So we have fast motorcycles. We just we did find some issues on mine. Last race?
Yep.
At Bristol, we actually found some issues at Bristol, but I wasn't able to see if all the changes fixed it. But we'll see it in Vegas. And he said he's got to get his posse back. He's got to get his posse back running good. So, which is me and Scotty. So we're going to see what we can do in Vegas. We're going to come out swinging in Vegas.
And it seems like you guys usually do run fairly well in Vegas. Talking with you guys earlier this year, you guys were doing a lot of testing. Matt, I know there was an article like you touched on here about people eating broccoli and all the weight stuff earlier this year. But it does show, that you guys have done the testing. You guys came out swinging. You guys have proven that, hey, we know what we're doing. We're going to find what we find and use it to our advantage. Looking forward with the way kind of the battle has gone down, are you running off of what you've done previously, or are you guys still continually to find horsepower and find different things for those bikes?
Yeah, I mean, we're running the stuff we ran last year. We do have a few new parts. But as I think it's just not us. It's with everybody in all the categories. We've had parts on order since December last year. We still haven't got those parts yet for this year. New stuff, new R&D stuff for our V-twin stuff. And we're having problems. We're having a tough time getting parts right now for development for our new stuff. So, yes, we are running the same stuff we have been. And we've got some new stuff, and it's better. But the problem is we're still waiting on parts to really make a big change, to find some more power. And, like I said, we're not the only ones in this situation. Everybody's in this situation with what's happened over the last, year and a half with this COVID thing. But, all in all, we have really big power. I still think we have the most power of the V-twins out there. And we are showing how fast we can run at every race. We were number 1 and 2 qualifier at Bristol. The problem is the cool air came in, and I think that really hinders the V-twins. I think the Suzuki's really shine when it gets cold. You look at Dallas, it got hot, and we shined there. We were shining good at Bristol until it cooled off Q3, and then Sunday it was cold, and the Suzuki's woke up. And, so I'm really hoping and praying that Vegas is warm and Pomona's warm, and we have a fighting chance to win this championship and try to get 5 championships,
All right, guys, my last question for you of the evening. There has been a lot of silly season toolbox national news with the fuel ranks. Obviously, Tony Stewart Racing, so on and so on. And you all have mentioned, hey, next year, Suzuki, we're going to show what they actually can do and get that weight added. I've seen you in new leathers, Matt. Got to ask, Angie, you want to have anything new look-wise next year? And what other silly season news might y'all know from the world of pro stock motorcycle?
We're going to be the same old, same old. I'm sure, I think Denzo's will be back with us next year.
Yep.
And, but there will be a little something different.
Yeah, we're going to.
And that's all I can say.
Angie's bike will be about the same and look the same.
Mine will be the same.
The same. She's going to have the same bike. I will have, if I run a V-twin, I'll have a new body on it, new paint job. That was the reason I brought the new leathers out at Dallas, just to test, just to get them broken a little bit. So I'm ready for Gainesville and all that. I am building a Suzuki. That will be a different color. And we'll have a lot of big news coming out for silly season probably real soon. Next week or two, I think it'll probably be announced, but it's going to be interesting. I think we might shock the world with some of the news that's going to happen in the upcoming weeks.
Matt Smith goes nitro racing as a top fuel track. No,
not before me. Not before me.
So, hey, Lee, this is your opportunity, I think. Didn't you say you want to get on a bike?
Yes, but I mean, even Matt.
No. Wait. No buts, Lee. This is your opportunity right now. Matt just said he's getting a new bike. There's an opportunity for you to do some testing, I think.
Yes,
here's your opportunity right now, Lee. Lee, this is your opportunity.
Hey, let me say this.
Mike Ashley already said he'd write the check.
If Matt could make a bike fast with me on it, anybody would win a championship. I'll put it that way.
Here, I'll ask for him, Matt. Mike Ashley said he'd write the check for it. Lee wants to get on a bike.
He did say he would write the check, so.
Well,
as long as we have a check.
As long as we have a check. I'm sure Mike's got the money, so, you know, if Lee wants to come and test one, if the money's there, we'll let him make some laps.
Just bring the video camera.
Yeah, we're going to definitely set up two or three video cameras because we'll have a bloopers reel after it. I can promise you that.
You will. I guarantee you will. I guarantee.
So
but
you're saying there's a chance.
It is something I do want to do, and hopefully it would not be like the last time I was on a bike and I totaled it. That would not hopefully be.
You're not Lee. You're not supposed to say that when you're asking to get on the bike. You're supposed to leave that out.
You have to mute your mic now.
I can say this. We will definitely get to see Lee's eyes through the helmet when he drops the clutch because he can't put those glasses on.
That's right. You can't.
Oh, man. Lee, here you go. Mike Ashley, I hope you're watching tonight because get that checkbook out because, oh, boy, Lee's getting on a bike.
Got to do it. So right now I have offers for a bike, to hop in a sprint car, and Chris Graves was like, hey, my guys over at Funny Car Chaos might let you drive. So, hey, we'll see what happens in 2022.
What would be your pick?
All of them.
Well, if you had to pick one.
See, now, Angie, come on now. If I had to pick one.
Sprint car, Rachel Chaos.
Wow.
I can tell you which one's not my first pick.
I will say, though I love them all, I'm a motorsports nut across the board. There is just something about a funny car. Being underneath that body, behind that engine, in between those tires, especially if it's an alcohol funny car, dumping the clutch, revving at 5,000-6,000. That's just, take my money.
What about you, Angie? If you weren't on a bike, what else would you be doing?
Go big or go home. I'm going top fuel racing.
Yeah, see.
I like it. Matt?
He's pro mod.
I mean, I've driven a pro mod, so I mean, I love the pro mod, but if I ultimately had, unlimited budget, wanted to do it, my ultimate goal was I would love to drive a nitro funny car. A1 because they're so hard to drive, and I like the challenge.
I like that. Hey, there's opportunity. There's new teams popping up everywhere.
Right.
Who knows what, Michael Jordan might have a team next year at the rate we're going. We don't know.
You never know. Well, guys, look, thank you for your time. It's been good having you on the Competition Plus Power Hour. First appearance, we hope that is the first of many more. And may your seasons run out well here in 2021.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having us on.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
There
you go,
folks.
Lee, you gotta take care of that. They were right there. They wanted, they got the bike, man. Just jump on it. Like, you got the funds.
Right.
Why not?
Well, I feel sorry for the poor cow that has got to clothe me in leathers. And it would be a whole cow.
No, you're going to have to go and visit, what is that? The what chassis thing or whatever that is?
Watusi.
What is it named? Watusi. You're gonna have to go and visit one of his cousins or something.
It's Oliver the Watusi.
Yes, you're gonna have to talk to him to see. You might need, I don't know.
Yeah, look, Drag Racing Central. The Smiths are great. There is a whole lot of personality there. I've always liked Matt. He might fire from the hip, but he's gonna shoot you straight. He's gonna tell you what it is. I've always liked that.
And I think that's another thing. I mean, I've talked about it with a few people. I don't think I can't even say. I was going to say professional stock. Pro stock motorcycle. I can't do it. Pro stock motorcycle. I don't think I'm going to use this term, get the love that they should. I mean, I think that there's a lot of raw emotion, raw, passionate people in that class. I mean, the Smith family, Flying Ryan. I mean, great interview I have with him on my YouTube channel, Outlaw Performance ENT. Steve Johnson, we've had them on. I mean, there's just a lot of different personalities that I don't think we cover because here again, and this is not saying that I don't like NHRA, we focus on Top Fuel and funny cars the most.
Certainly.
A hard third is pro stock and then pro stock motorcycle.
Right.
But I think we have to do that. And I think, honestly, there should be another class, professional mod, pro mod. But hey, who's the judge? I'm just saying, why are we not putting them all up on the winner's circle? But like I said, I think that there's a lot of people that we don't talk to or we don't get those chances to, hear what they have to say, get their point of views. I mean, just like you said, Matt Smith has a lot of history in drag racing because of who his dad is. And he was, born into this, raised into this. So it just shows and it continued to show, and that's why I'm glad about this show, your show, Monday Morning Racer, Between the Slicks, what you do on your stuff, giving the opportunity to shine a light on these other people. Drag Racing Central says, I don't think pro mod drivers want to be a pro class. Personal opinion, again, no. I think that's wrong. I think they do.
I think they are professionals. I think we are talking about these made-up lines of division concerning the class itself and title sponsor and banner sponsor, things of that nature. Also, what are the parameters of a professional class? I think that becomes the intent that Drag Racing Central is mentioning from the YouTube side. Is it scheduled? Because if it is scheduled, then the pro mod guys, they don't really want to run more than 12, 11, 13 races because, well, all of them, just about all of them, are in some way, shape, form, or fashion a business owner. And they have been very successful in that area, in those places where they may be. There's actually very few that are the professional race car driver, and they're earning all of their funds from racing itself. But that's no different than really many of the other classes, actually. when you begin looking into drag racing and the finances of it, it's amazing just how little drag racers are earning compared to IndyCar, F1, NASCAR, and other motorsports that are out there. So, yeah, it's definitely tough. To what parameter are we going to use to say professional?
And I think this comment right here agrees exactly with how I feel. Like you said, they are a professional class, but like you said right here, the heavy schedule.
Right.
You know, like perfect example is Doug Winters. You know, some of the trips he makes are 18 plus hours one way. You know what I mean? And when you're doing this on, like you said, being a business owner, that kind of, you know, avenue, then yes, it's a totally different when you're leaving on a Wednesday or a Tuesday to get to the racetrack, to get set up, and then to haul out Sunday. And, you know, you've got 4 guys that are on flights, and you don't, you know, you're driving the truck and the trailer back or anything like that. So there's a lot that goes on. And I would just like to see this class get a little bit more love and attention. I think we have some phenomenal drivers in that class. And, you know, not just drivers, but personalities that need to be touched on a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
That is why I'm a proponent of let's experiment with Pro Stock and Pro Modified having less races compared to Top Fuel and Funny Car. Let's give them a standalone Door Slammer NHRA event. I would like to see that. And they get the big TV package, and it is promoted without fuel. And people understand that, hey, this is not a fuel event. This is a Door Slammer event, along with factory stock and super stock and super gas. Well, mainly those that have door cars. So that would mean no super comp because they're dominated by dragsters.
Yeah, totally agree with you there, Lee. And you know, I think that's one thing that Wes Buck is a, you know, huge component of the Door Slammer racing. And I think, you know, that's something that we could possibly see more of, a entourage or a in the Wes Buckism world of words that he uses, a slew of Door Slammer races. It would be, you know, cool to have that, you know, NHRA plus or NHRA this, you know what I mean? Just to give it, you know, separate it a little bit. Give that's a weekend where your dragsters and your top fuel classes maybe can have a weekend off, and you go back, you battle it in. And that's not to take away from any of the other classes. I think it's just shining a light on the different variety of drag racing. Because if you're a drag racing fan and you go talk to anyone that is out there in the world that has seen drag racing, if you ask them, when you look at a drag racing or when you think of drag racing, what do you think? The first thing they're going to say is a car with the big tires, it's long with a high wing on the back.
Yes.
You know, for the most people. And that's not a bad thing, because if you ask them, you know, NASCAR, what are they going to say? They're going to say Dale. You know, I mean, most people are going to say Dale when you say NASCAR. But it's an ongoing thing that I think we have to continue to try to improve the knowledge of people and giving them that different variety of saying, you know, hey, just like Mountain Motor was in Brainerd this year, it gave them a different view of these cars and these drivers, and it put them to the forefront. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, and look, more exposure, the better. If it's on YouTube, if it's on NHRA.tv, though I'm not the biggest fan, but let's get that exposure through that with maybe some more free previews. Maybe we make ProMod the free preview to NHRA.tv every weekend, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that cannot be worked out, but more exposure is going to help people become more interested in other classes beyond fuel. You mentioned Mountain Motor Pro Stock. I don't know how many times I have to answer the question on my YouTube channel, Monday Morning Racer, what Mountain Motor Pro Stock actually is. There's so many people that are so used to the 500 cubic inchers that when they encounter Mountain Motor, they're like, I've never seen one of these. I've never heard of these guys. Who are these? What makes them different? Exposure. We've got to have it.
And I think in the mountain motor pro stock class, you have a class within itself that I honestly do believe can compete with everyone that's there in the pro category. I mean, I think these guys and girls are on a tighter budget per se, but who's to say if they didn't have, that smaller budget that they couldn't compete? If it was budget for budget, I think we would see a lot more drivers doing it. But then some are a lot more comfortable with, the PDRA side of it instead of going full-time NHRA racing. And
right.
That's where I think we could help them out with maybe having that smaller schedule. But I've talked about it. You've talked about it. Who would not like to see, we've talked about it on this show, who would not like to see that mountain motor go against, the traditional pro stock?
So, Mike, they are not guests. They are not exhibition classes. Pro Mod has its own title, banner, and sponsor, and so as it is with Nitro Harley, though that is still kind of up in the air concerning the title sponsor. I do believe one of the own racers' business stepped up after or before or after Gainesville. But no, they're not guests. They are not even exhibition classes. They are considered an actual class with their own title, banner, sponsors. Now, when you talk about exhibition classes, mountain motor actually would be considered one of those classes, as an example. Sam, I know we just talking about pro mod, pro stock motorcycle, pro stock, door slammers, but dude, funny car, NHRA right now is sick. I love it. It's so good right now.
I'm probably going to get in trouble right now, so I'm not going to say what I really want to say. But yes, I do agree. Funny car is. I'm throwing you for a loop, and I'm leaving you out right now. Funny car is great.
Punk out right now? Are you going to punk out right now on the Power Hour and not say what is on your mind?
All right, fine. If you guys want to hear it, hi-yow, here it goes. I think right now, and we saw it, I think we're going to see, and this is kind of it's a two-edged sword here, Lee, and you're putting me on the full camera, so here it goes. I think we're going to see a downfall in performance in a couple of drivers right now. I'm going to leave it at that. I think there was big news brought out. You can form your own opinions. I'm stating mine. I think I call it the hockey signing slump, or the signing slump. You sign the big deal, you sign the big contract, and then after that, those next couple of weeks, you are kind of null and void. Your performance kind of dips a little bit because you go from that high to that down low. So I predict, we're talking funny car, I predict we will see a very different point swing because of a dip in performance. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just saying, I think we see kind of a lull in performance and productivity because of what happened.
You make a good point. There could be so much confusion and talk and distraction from particular teams that it does impact them going into the last two races. But man, look, we have a points battle where it is 1 point separating first and second.
It's huge. It's huge. This is my thing, Lee. The point spread, I think, in a lot of the classes is we're not like, oh yeah, we predicted that, we saw that. It's close enough in most classes where it's like you asked Kevin earlier, how do you still have fingernails?
Right.
If I'm that person, if I'm sitting number 1 through 5 in most classes right now, I don't have fingernails each weekend, because if I go out early, I'm sitting there calculating, okay, this is going to happen to this, but then this is going to happen to this. And I meant to ask this to Matt and Angie about the points, the 1.5. Can we get rid of that? God, see, here go. I told you I'm going to get in trouble because there's just so much. doing that is like giving the participation, given that other point, or when you do a double points race or anything like this for all these tracks that do it for a makeup or anything. No, because it gives if someone has worked hard this whole year to, make it to each event that they possibly can, to run their best that they can and do the best that they can each week. Now you're going to give someone the chance to come in 1 week where they could be hot and get a 1.5, or they can get the double point. We need to get rid of that. I understand it if it's a complete makeup because of a natural disaster, but if it's not, or a pandemic or anything like that, but we got to stop this 1.5 and giving double points for this and this for some of these IHRA and NHRA tracks that run bracket stuff. It blows me away, Lee, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Like,
I'm not a fan of it this late in the countdown at the last race. I think you are engineering on the engineering of the engineering in which you already put forward. Now, the only time I want to see 1.5 or even double points is Indy. That has been a historical facet of that race. It is our biggest race. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But I would like to see Indy be the first race of the countdown and not the one setting it, me personally. I would like to see some shifting there. But yes, I don't like how
these are just our opinions.
And you have factored in another element within the game to trip people up, and it does create great talking points, though, of there are those with mathematical opportunities and chances that you have to keep in play that normally would not be, and especially funny car. I don't have the points up right now, but from even 1 through 7th right now, there is still some mathematical chances if Ron Capps and Matt Hagan went out round 1 and the entire field gained on them. Pomona is going to be insane, especially for that class.
Pomona is going to be one that you just don't want to miss, period. I mean,
yes.
Let's be honest. But I want to say this, Lee. When you talked about these mathematical equation, you and I think briefly touched on it a couple of days ago. Could we potentially see the bigger car teams play games, knowing that it may come down to a final round, or, I'm not speculating that this would ever happen, but could you see that where, hey, if we get this 1.5, we gain so much, or if we make sure this person goes out, stack the ladder per se, know, hey, if I qualify 15th, this may help out this, or, that's why I don't like it. Because of the, go ahead.
Well, Sam, they going to play those games either way. Because
I know
that has, and look, it happens in every motorsport. And frankly, I think we should probably be more open and transparent about it in drag racing than we are. I mean, look at F1. They're just flat out, let them pass. Let them pass. Yes, let them pass. So, the team orders are clear and transparent. Everybody knows it's happening. It's like highlights of the broadcast. We just got a report. They're letting him pass to win the championship. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows. And look, let me tell you something. Some of the wily old match racers that are still out there in that field, they know how to, smoke the tires about 300 feet and let someone else get a win light and make it look like there was a drag race. You can't tell me they don't know how to do that.
Lee, you can't tell all the secrets, man. You didn't learn anything from what Matt and Angie just did. They told you a little bit, but they didn't spoil all the beans, man. You cannot do that. But hey, Lee, who knows? But there is something, Lee, that I do want to – I want to ask a question to you. It's not even drag racing related. It has nothing to do with it. Honestly, nothing to do with this show. But on my gander down in Virginia, I found one of my childhood favorite snacks. And I haven't seen it like this for a very, very long time. So, in natural Slam and Sam form, I had to go and buy some and brought them back. But then when I got back, I saw them on the shelves here at the store. So, this thing right here, Lee, the good old zebra cake. Before I left, I went to the gas station, headed back to the airport after a great day of PDRA racing.
Yes.
And I got to indulge in one of those.
Right.
Thank you, Virginia. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Lee, for telling me to go to a PDRA race so I could find one of those. And when this show's over, ladies and gentlemen, find me with that and a nice tall glass of water.
I'm glad you're going to enjoy your off-brand Little Debbie Christmas tree.
No. No, this ain't off-brand, baby. See, you see that?
No. What I'm saying is the Christmas tree cake is the staple. Everything off of that is an off-brand, even under the Little Debbie show.
Wait a minute. I know this ain't drag racing talking about. It's a late night show.
In the you're chat telling right me now, what's better?
You're telling
plain old zebra cake or the Christmas tree cake? Let me know. We're all looking for the shelves right now. Like, look, everybody hates Christmas decorations coming out early, but we love seeing that Christmas tree cake come out early before everything else. In the chat right now, Christmas tree or zebra?
Hold on. Before they get to us, right here, someone says that the Capco boys are taking it.
If he keeps making final rounds appearances like he is, he's going to, there's no way. There's no way to gain on him because he gains for himself each and every race.
Ouch. I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is what Brittany's done in qualifying that's phenomenal. Like,
you mean what Grubby's done?
No comment. All right, comments are coming in. Twinkies.
That was not allowed, sir. That was not allowed, but we will take it.
I have not had a good old Twinkie in a very long time.
Stan knows the truth. He's saying Christmas.
See, this is why Stan and I go back and forth every week because he agrees with you, Lee. I'm gonna have to give Stan one of these. Where's the camera? You see that? You see that thumb there, Stan? I'm gonna have to give you one of those. What?
Christmas tree
How?
Cake.
No, baloney. You guys. That's why you guys aren't drag racing fans. It is proven right now. You guys go out there. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, on the late night show, the Power Hour, that has nothing to do with drag racing. You need to go out there and get you a Little Debbie zebra cake. It will change your life. That's what I'm saying. All you not naysayers that think drag racing is dead. That's what's wrong, Lee. I know it. I finally figured it out. People that didn't eat the zebra cake growing up are the same people that like electric cars.
Oh, man. You gone too far now. Everybody, look, enjoy your Christmas tree cakes.
It ain't Christmas season yet.
This Christmas.
It ain't Christmas
I'm the
yet.
Monday Morning Racer. Make sure, check me out Thursday night. I'm going to have Chris Powers on, PDRA Extreme Pro Stock Champion. And I should have the Funny Car Chaos Champion and Challenger on as well. Thursday night, Between the Slicks, Monday Morning Racer, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for watching. It has been a privilege. Thank you, Kevin Rivenbark. Thank you, Matt and Angie Smith. Slam and Sam, thank you, sir. Shut her down.
That's right, everybody. Thank you to Matt and Angie and to Kevin for coming on and yakking it up with us all here on drag racing, motorsports, and even Little Debbie's tonight. It's been an honor and a pleasure. To Bobby Bennett, do not forget tomorrow, y'all, 8 p.m. Check it out. YouTube. I'm going to share it. Lee's going to share it. Slam and Sam, Outlaw Performance ENT, Monday Morning Racer. We are going to have it on our pages, so please check it out. Mr. Kenny is going to be the debut of the legends, bringing it back. Bobby is doing the great work of telling the stories of these drivers. Again, to all you guys in the comments, we appreciate you guys more than what you know. Please go and like and subscribe to all of our YouTube channels if you want to listen to these back. You can do that on all your major podcast forms. And you can email the Power Hour at powerhourcp@gmail.com. Sorry, powerhourcp@gmail.com. Send us your information for Mr. Jefferin, our pit insider. You guys, till next time, keep munching on whatever little Debbies you want, because there's a whole lot of shakeup about to go down in the Sin City over Halloween weekend. I will see you guys next week with my co-host, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. Till next time, y'all. Little Debbies, because we're out.
But my dad was really my mentor. He was exactly, let's put it this way, I'm exactly like he was in the sense of always being aggressive and trying to be the best that you could be. He was in the clothing store business, Levine's department stores, and at that time he was the manager of the store in Lubbock, Texas. So I worked a lot. Every holiday I was working. Every weekend that we weren't playing football or something for the teams, we were working. So I grew up in a business atmosphere. Our dinner table at home was like this. How much did you sell today, Kenny? What'd your tickets look like? I basically looked up one day and said, what are you doing? You're not making any money, and this is a very expensive sport even in those days. And I didn't see a future there. I didn't see how I was going to find this major sponsor and be able to do what other guys were doing on the West Coast and some guys in Texas that were doing.
Under the hood of these plastic body cars.
I gave it 1 year in 1979 to run all the national events and the IHRA and NHRA events. And if I could come up with a sponsor for the 1980 season, then I would go on with that if it was worthwhile and sell the restaurants, because I always in my life wanted to go racing. And this was probably the only opportunity I thought that was going to happen. So I didn't hear from him Saturday night at all. I didn't think much about it. I figured I would, but I didn't. But Sunday, he comes in Sunday afternoon. He says, he looked at me on the bed. I was laying there in traction. He says, well, we can't run the car the way I'm trying to run it. And I said, what? He says, can't do it. He said, there's no way. He says, I went out there. It shook so hard, I absolutely turned it almost upside down. Sideways, upside down, on two wheels. He says, unbelievable, Kenny. He says, terrible. He said, I parked it, would not drive it the rest of the night. We cannot run the car that way. I'm trying to do something that we can't do.